From here, I think I would like to invite our next moderator, Dhanishta. The floor is all yours. Dhanishta is 2018 batch pass out, my classmate, and she's doing her master's in University of Uppsala right now. So it's all yours, Dhanishta. Go ahead.
Thank you, Simran. I would welcome you all to the final session of this Bio and IT work program for this 2 day summit that we had. And I guess the organizers are made a great job organizing this for all of us. So I'd like to thank them first. So this last session is going to be like a two-part section where we have some insight into the software industries abroad as well as academic research in Canada. So the first speaker I'd like to welcome is Seshasai Katta. He's a 2012 batch pass out, and he's currently working at Amazon as a software development engineer. Seshasai, you can take over from here.
Hi guys, it's good to see all these people right now, and I'm glad I get to meet Sairam and Erika and Orpita on this call right now. So good to see you. Excited and overwhelmed seeing all this, and just gets me feel nostalgic that I'm back to my college. So good. Let me start off. I would want to introduce myself in a different way rather than just putting up my resume on what I've done all this while. I want to put up with the failures and what led me to decisions, what I've made in my life to what I am here right now. So yeah, 2008 started my BTech at NIT Warangal, and I did choose biotech as a choice. And out of interest to both, there are both reasons. One is NIT Warangal, and then there was the biotech boom which was happening, and biofuels was mostly the thing I wanted to work on. But then over a period of time, the desire was totally killed. Some of the reasons were like my personal interests have changed over a period of time. One of the reasons was I had this idea about having to create a detergent with protein kinase phosphate, some kind of protein. And I spoke to one of our profs, and he said, you go have fun with your vacation. Why do you want to do all this? So those kind of like bad experiences with profs actually made me kill the dream of my biotech career. And then I thought, okay, let me join the rat race of MBAs and whatnot, or jobs. Then I was looking for the jobs in my final year. I was lucky enough to get into Wipro with that Star Tag program. There are 8 other people from my department who did join that program. I mean, we were making really good money and we were all there. And then, but my day-to-day activities were really weird. Like I was from biotech, and the promise which was given to us was, you are a star batch and you will be made project managers, then business analysts, whatnot. They just promised us. But once we started the job, things changed and we were expected to be software developers. And then that's when I realized I was good at using Google. I had to start using Google to do my day-to-day activities of my job, and it's really hard. But over a period of time, I learned the knack of using or doing my job, and then I was promoted in my 3 years to senior software engineer. And then this is like, okay, this is where the twist comes. My master was unexpected, really. The reason being, like, 2014, I gave my CAT. I failed. It was 66 percentile. I gave my GMAT. I got like around 640. I was expecting around 680. I failed. And all these were reality checks on my career and what I wanted to do. And my parents and my peers were like, okay, this guy is like making good money or whatever he's doing. And he's not like, probably doesn't want to move out in his career. He settled. And then my parents come back and say, like, this is the right time for you to get married. That was back in my 24, 25. And the thought of getting married really scared me off. And I booked my GRE slot in 3 days, worked off for my GRE, and I was able to score around 315 in my GRE and 105 on my TOEFL. And at that point, that was a juncture where I had to decide, what do I want to do right now? I have my 3 years work experience. I have my NIT Warangal biotech. So what do I choose? So I was speaking to my peers, my colleagues, my classmates who are like on the same boat as me, who were trying to switch their careers. So then I decided, okay, do I do CS? Do I do MIS? Or do I do engineering management? Or do I do an MBA? I thought I was not fit enough, or I failed in my exam. So I thought probably MBA is not my thing. I don't know how to speak. I don't know how to read English, or I don't know how to communicate properly. So there are a lot of self-judgment or a lot of introspection going on within me. And I thought, okay, maybe CS is my thing. And since I've been worked, let me utilize that. And I had a decent score. So I was speaking to, so then I decided, okay, let me apply only for core CS. I realized the reason being, if I had to take IS or EM, I know I'll go to US. I'll probably get a software job as an analyst or some kind of a software where I have to use a software role, and I'd come back to the same place where I started. Look at Google. How do I find a solution to this problem? I didn't like that being insecure about my job or what I don't know. So I thought, let me do it the hard way, and I took CS. I applied for two ambitious schools when I was not in. I won't even say ambitious for my score. Like I applied for Northeastern. The cutoff was around 308 back then, and then I applied for NYU Poly. The cutoff was 305. Those were my ambitious schools for CS, and then I applied for really low grade schools for CS. One is George Mason, CS, California State University (LB), and some small time colleges like Santa Clara and other colleges. Surprisingly, none of the small colleges gave me admit. Everybody rejected me, and then I got I got admit from Northeastern. I never expected to get admit from Northeastern, but thing was they asked me to join their Seattle campus. I was doing research on Seattle and how it is, how what place it is, and what was living expenses. It was pretty expensive, man. My per credit score was per credit cost was around $1,500 per credit, and I had to do 32 credits. So it was really expensive. But then I don't know what the admission committee thought, but they gave me a 25% fee waiver on my master. So I fly back here. It was totally a new whole. Like I escaped the problem of marriage, but then I opened a whole Pandora's box of new problems for myself. I had to adjust with these new people who are none of them are from from my Telugu speaking state. So one was a Maharashtra guy, one was a Bengali guy, and one was some other state. And everybody is really selfish in your room, and nobody is going to share what you do, and it's going to be really hard. You have to adjust, you have to cook, you have to handle all these things. That was really tough time for me over a period of time. And then at the same time, I don't know if you ever do research about how do you transition from your biotech to CS or any other course to CS. Most of the colleges would expect you to do some preparatory courses, but luckily or unluckily, I don't know, whatever it is, I was never asked to do any preparatory courses, and I just took up the direct CS courses. And then my assignments come in, and I was expected to solve this problem where you are a robot and you have to go to a target from a given source with a lot of obstacles, and I have to code for that. I had no clue what was that. So I had a week to submit that assignment. Then I literally sat in my bathroom and cried for like 10-15 minutes. Like, what the fuck am I doing here? Why am I even here? What's the point of me? I can't even progress or don't even understand what am I doing here. So it made me realize, again, it's realistic for me that, or maybe it's for a good reason. I came out, I like sat for like nonstop, like probably 40 hours, reading a lot about algorithms, about graph traversals, about tree traversals, all these things. It just gave me a lot of insights and gave me more to be confident that there's no end of the world. You can still fight, you can still progress in life. And I was able to get that assignment. I thought I'll fail in that assignment, but luckily I got a C grade. So that was the hardest or lowest point of me. Then from there I kept progressing, and then it came for internships. As so my parents send me $1,000 per month. I am on this loan, and then I don't have an internship. I don't have a TA. It was really expensive to stay in the US in Seattle. I was being rejected by so I applied for around 500 to 600 companies for my internship. I was on the assumption that my 3 years experience would land me somewhere, but the reality is it's really hard. The kind of experience, the kind of expectations from the companies you have for a computer science grad is next level. A Wipro experience or TCS or Infosys or any experience is not going to subside or help you anyway. It is way beyond that if you're expecting to get a good tech job in the US. I mean, there are other opportunities like, you can, a lot of people talk about consultant or contract jobs, but I didn't want to go that path because I thought I am working so hard, I'm investing so much. I want to do something which I learn and which really be fruitful for me in future. When I look back down in my life, down the time, I'm happy what I did. So I want to do that. I worked hard. I applied for 500 to 600 companies, and luckily I got an internship with ProQuest. And one good thing about my college at Northeastern is we have a co-op program where we can actually do an internship for 11 months. So I was able to do it for 6 months. I was able to make good money, pay off my fees, or have a good, no need to worry about the finances till I was able to graduate. And then in between, so I finished my internship. I come back to college, and again I was back to the rat race of data science. I took machine learning, it was theoretical machine learning. Then I took the computer vision. So I was really keen about this particular field. I actually implemented deep learning algorithms using Keras for face recognition, face identification, a Facebook paper. And then I also invented conversational neural networks using Google Cloud, like a conversation chat. I also implemented, like, I had to code basically all this two-layer perceptron, backtracking, back propagation algorithms, linear regression, logistic regression, like a lot of algorithms. We actually implement as a CS student. You are expected to implement rather than use some kind of libraries like scikit-learn uh, or whatever other libraries are available in the market. So we were expected to implement those algorithms, understand the entropies, what are those values, what is feature engineering, what is data cleansing, like a lot of data pipelines, like a lot of stuff. We were expected to learn all this. I was there in that race trying to learn, but then the reality is, again, there is reality check. When you look for a job, nobody cares about what you did in your masters. They always expect about your experiences and what do you know about it. Nobody cares about your academic projects. And then so I started again. I was graduating in 3 months and I started looking for jobs. I applied for, like, at this time it was not 500 companies, but I had an internship experience, so it was just like probably 100 or 150 companies. But still, I interviewed with Nordstrom, I interviewed Bloomberg, I interviewed with couple of startups in SF. So everybody flew me to their headquarters in their respective places, and every time I failed, it was always a new experience. The expectations were really different. So some companies were considering me like, okay, this guy has 3 years experience, he has a master's, and he has an internship. The interviewers expecting more kind of so system when you interview for a software company, the expectations are really, really way above your bar, what you expect, and you have to be prepared for that. So all these were actually preparing me for this. So every interview that I failed gave me an experience or hard pill, something to learn in a hard way. Maybe the way I talk to people or the way I prepare for interview. So we would have like at least 4 to 5 rounds of on-site interviews. We used to have a phone screen, an online assessment, and then an on-site interview of 5 rounds. And each round was expected to be in an algorithm challenge or data structures or system design. Also, how do you estimate for your project? So there are various. Each round is assigning or gauging you on some kind of thing, and you are expected to do it on a whiteboard on the spot. They give you a problem, you solve it. So I failed like 5, 6 interviews. Then I think So I failed in most of them actually, not even 5. Like whatever I went for onsite, I failed in everything. But I think yesterday I was seeing one of the presentations yesterday by Money. One of the important things when you're in the US is important to network, find opportunities, knock every door that you have. So I was like, I was preparing for my interviews or brushing up my skills. At the same time, I need to also apply for companies and meet people, meet recruiters. Consider, just push your resume. See, please consider my resume. So there are a lot of networking events happening around Seattle. I used to pay $5, $10, go to these events, speak to recruiters, and market myself. And luckily there was one of the recruiters who was impressed with my resume, and the company was Solemn LLC. And he saw my resume, he called me over for coffee next day, and then he set up a phone screen, and then I cleared a phone screen, and then I had an onsite, I cleared an onsite, and then boom, I got my job. And then there's other failure for me over there. You have to be really careful on your documentation. I think a lot of people have spoken about how difficult it is for immigrants to be in the US. One carelessness of mine, like I just gave my address wrong, and then I had to miss my EAD card. Basically, I think Rohit was saying yesterday that if you are not employed for 90 days, you have to leave the country. And I just gave my addresses wrong, and then my EAD card was posted to the wrong address and was sent back. And in 2 weeks, if I don't join my job, I was supposed to leave the country. But then my college was really helpful. They made me apply again, and my recruiter was really good. You need to maintain that contact, a rapport with any person you meet in the US. You don't know who's going to help you when. So I got my EAD just in 2 weeks. When I was thought I'm going to leave the country, I was back and I was working. And then that was my slalom. As I was learning a lot as a software engineering consultant, I was working with Audible. I was also working with Alexa at Amazon, and I was also working with some other company called Sulatab. And in all this in all my experiences, I never thought programming language as a barrier. Neither did I thought domain, having a specific domain for a particular business problem was a barrier. All I thought was mandatory was how strong or how good you are at your fundamentals, and given a problem, if it take how do you push yourself out of the comfort zone? I mean, every situation would push any one of us out of the comfort zone. So, but how do you adjust? How do you fight that situation and make yourself comfortable is what's important, I believe. And also the other reason why how I got into Amazon is also funny, really funny. So my roommates are actually working for Amazon, but I was working for Slalom. there was kind of ego pride, like, okay, they're working for Amazon and they're kind of showing off, and I didn't like that attitude. And I just so I had my recruiters reach out from Amazon and Facebook, but it is not easy. To get to Amazon, I used to work from evening after I used to come back from my job, work for like 3 to 4 hours on lead code for like 3 to 4 months, and then I got the interview calls or whatnot, and then again it's like you have an on-site 5 rounds, and then you clear the job, you do it. It's really challenging. Okay, boom, I got my job back in Amazon. It's really hard again. You have to keep up your reputation of being an engineer at Amazon. So I work for some team called Same Day Delivery Experience team, and so we on Amazon.com, the CX, whatever you see for same day, like get it today by 4 p.m., get it today by 6 p.m. That's what my team works. And most of the CX, what you see, was actually developed by me, I would say. And it's really hard. The timelines are really hard. Every bug I create would put some millions of dollars to loss for Amazon. So that's the scale on which we work. It's always challenging, and you need to always step up your skills, and the expectations are really high. And it's not easy, but maybe situations like this actually pulls the best out of you, and you always have to identify that if you're being thrown into something, probably you know how to fight back and come up. That has been my failures and how I've shaped my career, and I hope it helps, but I didn't want to put up my resume though. So yeah, that's it from me. Sorry if I took a long time, and sorry I had to drop off in the middle. Thanks guys. Yeah.
Thank you, Seshasai, for a really honest talk, which I think was really probably helpful for a lot of us here. Talking about failures is not something a lot of the we hear in these talks. So thank you so much for that. So now we move on to Vatsal. Again, he is now currently a doctoral student at the McGill University.
Thank you, Dhanishta, for the introduction. So I'll just quickly share my screen because I've prepared a few slides. Uh, I hope everybody can hear me and see the slides as well.
Yes, we can.
So first of all, thank you for inviting me to share my experiences, and congratulations to the whole BioNIT, the team who put this all together. So really, thank you and congratulations. So what I would do is basically go through my academic journey so far, from BTech to where I am right now, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to miss out on a few things. So please ask questions, and we can discuss that later on. So it all began with my BTech, biotechnology. I'm from 2015 batch, as mentioned. So it was always a choice for me, the biotechnology, because I wanted to be in this field, and I was really intrigued by this field. It was very new to me. So from the beginning, I was working towards, building my CV so that I can, because I also knew that I want to go for higher studies. So I was working towards, building my CV so that I get into the best possible universities or best possible labs or whatever. But so you can see that I in the first year I did an internship. It was like a industrial kind of internship in a company called Helix Biogenesis in Delhi. I don't even know if the company still exists now, but they were very helpful. They gave me some hands-on training on, how to make reagents and stuff like that. Considering I was a first-year student, it wasn't much, but it was something. So second year, I did a internship at University of Allahabad. That is my hometown. So when I went back home, I basically just asked the professor if I can shadow the professor or one of her PhD students in the lab in the Department of Biotechnology, and she was very helpful. She agreed to it. So basically, I did nothing, but I stood beside a lot of postdoctoral students and PhD students and saw what they were doing. Maybe I casted one gel in the entire 3 months of my 2 to 3 months of my internship, but it was an experience. Then finally, the third year internship, I was given a chance to basically come to Canada and do some sort of research in the Clinical Research Institute of Montreal, IRCM, where I am still a student now. So and basically this was the point where I got the most research experience, because the supervisor who I was working under was really helpful, and was some I don't know why, but was very trusting, um, uh, towards undergrad, and he was like, okay, do whatever you want. So that was kind of fun. But you can see that, like, throughout, I was also like participating in a lot of conferences. I would not understand anything in these conferences. I'm sorry. Like, I went to this proteins and disease disorders conference in 2012. So basically, it was my second year. I was just sitting there. But the main point of going to these conferences while I was in NIT Warangal was to just basically look at different fields that are out there, because when you are in NIT Warangal, going through all those courses, GPAs, you don't really get to see what is out there. So that was very helpful. Um, um, I basically I did that every year, so that I get some clarity in my mind that what I want to do after I finish NIT Warangal. So basically, in the final year, I was very sure that I had to go for higher studies, basically masters. And I applied for a lot of schools, more than 10, 15 schools, I think, in Canada and in Europe. And I got into a lot of them. I also got a job offer from University of Marseille in France, where the professor was like, come and work as a research assistant, and then apply for a master's maybe a year after. But then I chose Canada because I was already familiar with the place. So basically, what I wanted to say was that 4 years is a very long time to be in a BTech program, and you have ample opportunities to build your CV, because you will be competing with a lot of people who are coming from different universities, better courses for the same graduate spots that you will be also applying. So do whatever you can to I don't know, build your CV and make yourself stand apart from all the others that are out there. So the next step, I had the opportunity to also go for direct PhD, but I did not do that because uh, of the reasons basically listed here. I was not sure if I would be able to work independently on a project when the stakes are high. Basically, when you do an internship, it's very different. But when you get a project on your hand, it's something very different. I also wanted to build my background in biology, as some of you might relate. If you want to go into pure biochemistry or cell biology, we basically have, I don't know how it is now, but we only have one semester course at NIT Warangal, right? So that is not enough to just jump into research and start writing manuscripts and publish papers. So I wanted some practice with that. And to be honest, I enjoyed my time while in my MSc program. My name of my program was experimental medicine, so it's not pure biochemistry or not pure cell biology. It's a mixture of all those things. So you get to choose your courses, you get to choose your how you want to go forward with your master's program. While I was in the MSc, I had my own project. I was able to do a lot of collaborations with other labs, which was fun. I was participating in local or international conferences, which is a part of it, and also gives you chances to travel around the country or internationally. I also did an internship, like a summer, in the Center for Translational Biology here at Montreal, which was also pretty exciting and very good. So, and apart from all of this, like, you actually learn to do research and how to manage a project, and drive it just yourself, the project, without a constant helicopter supervision on top of you. So this was my main aim, or the goal for my MSc, and I was able to achieve it. I should mention that my program, experimental medicine, was completely thesis based. So basically, I only had 3 or 4 courses across 2 years, and the major credits that I had to were assigned towards my project. So basically, from day one of my master's till I graduated, it was all lab work. Okay. So the biggest hurdles that I had while I was in my MSc was, like I said, coping up with the competitive, and it's a very, very, very big change from what we were doing at NIT Warangal, and what we are expected to do in a MSc program. So that was the biggest hurdle, but it was nothing that too much that you cannot handle it. So I graduated in 2017, and then I just basically uh, continued in the same lab as a PhD student. But I did change my projects. Earlier, I was working on neuroendocrines and their effects in the basically neurological disorders. But then I wanted to shift into cardiovascular biology because endocrines also affect cardiovascular biology quite a lot. And I got this opportunity to work on a very translational project, basically, which means that I work a lot with basic biology research, but I also get to apply that part of research in clinical setting. That means that my work involves working with cells, working with animals like mice, and then also human samples, and hopefully doing preclinical studies about for different genetic targets. I also have a collaboration with the pharma industry right now. The industry also gives our lab money, and they give us certain problems that they um, want help with, or we go to them, asking money for certain projects that we propose to them. And if they're interested, they fund our projects. So basically, again, like, I have an independent project, I have collaborations, the same thing with conferences. So quickly on the responsibilities of the PhD student, usually in Canada, I'm pretty sure it is the same in the States also, but you are expected to give annual PhD seminars, which are basically presentations that you make in front of a panel of professors and maybe other students also, where you have to basically tell them what you did and how your progress has been every year. There is a pre-doctoral comprehensive exam, which everybody in PhD, they know about. Basically, you have to defend your PhD plan, your future plans, and your hypothesis. Otherwise, they just tell you that, okay, you're not fit for a PhD, go do a master's or something like that. And then you have to publish. So basically, I don't know how it is in other countries, but at least in Canada and all the other labs that I work with, um, it's not a mandatory thing from the university, but the supervisors only sign a contract with you once you agree to publish with them. So they will not let you leave the lab unless you have certain publications, basically. You have to go for conferences, you have to make presentations, and you have to do a lot of writing. So, and the next step for me, basically, I am not 100% sure what I'm going to do right now. I will be in the research domain. But the two options that are open for me are basically academia, of course, where I do a postdoctoral position and I work towards, opening my own lab and being an independent researcher, or I can go towards industry, where I join their research and development sector. But that is a decision that I think I will leave on to my last year and not think about it right now. Um, and I think the take-home message that I want to give everybody is basically that you should start early. I mean, no matter what you want to do, if you want to go for a PhD, or you want to go towards, a programming career or management career, whatever you want to do, like, do start early. It helps a lot. If you start, like, panicking on the in your final year or your third year, I mean, with third year is still fine, but like final year, it's a bit too late, I would say. You should build your CV, do whatever it takes. I mean, and for people who want to do a PhD and go into research, I would suggest, like, highly suggest you build your basics. Read your textbooks. We don't do that. I know that. We usually go for, the notes and our whatever presentations that are given by our professors. It might give you a good grade, but trust me, it helps a lot when you are doing your research and you're building your hypothesis and stuff like that. Um, Also, if you've made your mind to do a MSc, PhD, whatever, spend a good amount of time looking at different schools, labs, programs, whatever it is. I would suggest you take, like, at least a month just Googling different programs, different universities, different scholarship applications, everything, so that uh, everything that is out there and make a best decision for yourself. And I think this point has been repeatedly been said every time, that your supervisor is basically greater than everything else in your PhD, because PhD is not about winning a Nobel Prize in science or publishing high. It is about, doing academic research to your best extent, and basically, it can be very, very stressful. But if you have a good supervisor, that makes a very, very big change. And no matter what stream you choose, if you want to go towards industry or if you want to go towards, academia, your supervisor is the main, networking nodule, if I may, where you can reach out to other person via this person, and that's the person who can help you the most. And well, basically, academia is hard, but it is also very, very flexible. So, you can basically mold it according to you. It might be stressful at times, but it is nothing that, lasts forever. So you can reach out to your peers, and you can reach out to me, and we are always there to help you in our capacity. So I think that is it from my presentation. But I also had a few questions from you guys, I think. So we can discuss it right now. If we have time. Do we have time?
Yes, so now I can open up the floor for anyone who has any questions. First, thank you, Vatsal, for a great talk and for helping us understand how you got to the PhD and how it actually really works in Canada, because I think there are always some slight differences between the different countries.
Yeah.
So anyone who has questions can either please write on the chat or raise your hand, and
Well, I
I'll just
can
unmute it.
basically start by discussing the first question if you want.
Yeah,
The
sure.
first question is, like, how is Canada better than US? I mean, in terms of the schools or programs, you might find better schools in US in numbers. Basically, you have your Harvards and Columbias and everything, but there are very good schools in Canada as well. And the only advantage here is that the immigration is just, like, very easy. I mean, if you're looking to come to Canada and you want to stay here, uh, it's a very good place. And you have also, I should mention that I mean, if in Canada, at least if you're doing a PhD, you in life sciences or in medicine, you are 100%. You can be sure that you will be given a good stipend. I mean, something that you can, basically comfortably uh, cross your PhD with.
Also, it doesn't cost as much, right?
Yeah, it doesn't cost as much as US. So yeah.
Just a follow-up question for that, like, how was the master's funding and as such in Canada?
Uh, yeah. So if you join a thesis-based program or a research-based program, if you're working in a lab under a supervisor, they will start paying you a stipend from day one, no matter if you do a MSc or a PhD.
Mhm.
And there are several programs like fee waiver programs and stuff like that for international students that you can apply for, or sometimes it comes with the application right away, so you don't really have to do anything. Like it comes with your application letter.
Mhm.
So that's there. And yeah, one thing I don't know how it is in the US because I've never applied, but the national and international scholarships that are available by the provincial governments or the Canadian government in general are also open for international students. So we can apply for those things to get funding for our masters and PhD, whatever it is.
All right. Thank you.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, we could either move on with the questions on the board, or if anyone
Uh,
has a different question.
I had a comment. Hi, Vatsal.
Hi.
Good to see you from McGill too.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to your comment about, you mentioned that you had to sign something with the supervisor about the publications. So that has not been my experience. I actually hadn't heard of that before.
Yeah.
Maybe it depends on program to program or supervisors.
Mhm.
Although it is definitely expected of you that you would have at least three publications during your PhD. And that sort of makes it like a mark for you to pass your PhD exams later on.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, it's not like a mandatory rule. I agree with you. I mean, but in most PhD programs, the supervisor would expect you to publish.
Yeah, it's expected,
So,
but it's not like a signed agreement
oh, no,
kind
no,
of
no,
thing.
no, no, it's not. With everybody, it's not. I mean,
Yeah,
they cannot force you anyway because
exactly.
universities don't
Yes,
have that
yes.
rule. So even
Yeah,
if you have no publications, you can very
yeah,
happily graduate. It's just that
yeah. It's
because
hard to graduate without publications, but I guess people do it if experiments don't work out. That
yeah,
can happen.
right. Thank you for that. Well,
Um,
I can go for the second question if no one has any questions. So basically, this person is asking that I've seen our labs that are not good. Thus, I'm concerned how can prepare myself and learn skills necessary for a PhD. Well, there are no skills necessary for a PhD, I would say. So you just have to have like a lot of patience and love for the subject. That's all you need. Uh, the schools don't really expect much from you when you apply for a master's at least or a PhD. You just need a high GPA if you want to directly apply to the course. But
And a
other than
master's
that,
helps, right? You can get your foot in the door with the master's.
yeah,
And
exactly.
some programs also allow you to transition into PhD, that you can convert your master's into a PhD. So basically, you have your postdoctoral qualifier exam, to enter into PhD, and your credits and your work from your master's duration counts towards your PhD. So it's like it becomes a degree program, but you don't get a master's at the end. You have transitioned into PhD.
Right. It's called like a fast track program where you start with
Yes.
masters, but like after the first year of your masters, you basically start your PhD.
Yeah.
And,
and
you can also do that.
Yeah, and to answer the question, as a second year, you think that you don't have enough skills, so maybe that's where, if you have seen, most of our speakers have done ton of internships, tried different things out. That I think that's the place where you can really explore what kind of field you want to get into, if you like research, if you don't like research, and what skills you want. All the important skills that you think you will need before you go for a master's or PhD. You will have that chance for exploration during your internships.
mhm.
Right.
I was also curious about what are the opportunities in Canada in terms of students who have already done their masters, maybe from other parts of the world. to enter for a PhD? Is it more easier if you're done your master's there, or how is it with just in direct entrance to PhD there?
Well, if you've done a PhD in Canada, it is definitely very easy transition into like a PhD program, because the school knows you, you know a few professors, you know labs, so you can basically, you build a network, so it definitely becomes easier. But I wouldn't say it's much of a problem if you have a master's in any other country,
Okay.
to apply for a
And
PhD
actually
in
that
Canada.
can help your experience. Like if you later on want to go into academic research, they kind of also look at how many different universities have you been to, have you worked with. So that definitely counts. So for example, at McGill, I heard that, if you have done your PhD at McGill, you cannot be appointed at McGill as a professor because they prefer having people from another university. So
Oh.
that adds. So if you have one degree from one place and another from another, that can help your future.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, diversity helps, of course.
Yeah. Yes. All right. Are there any other questions that we have to Seshasai and Vatsal? If anyone can write it in the chat or just raise your hand so we can unmute you.
Uh, Hi.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm sorry for not raising my hand.
Yeah, go
I
ahead,
have a
Nandini.
question for Seshasai. Firstly, thank you so much for the honesty. It was so good knowing that, everybody has struggles and it's just real. So, um, seeing that you have seen like a lot of stuff, been to your fair share of obstacle course. What advice would you give to a student who is confused about their career, like is confused in a very wide sense of domains?
That's a good question. I think one of the previous presenters have told it. They put it in a really good way. If you have time, fail fast. You have time, try your career opportunity. If you think that's not working out, move out of it. I mean, you are young, you have time. I mean, you're just third year, right? You work for 1 year, see if it fits you. I mean, if you have enough resources, like let's say, I mean, so for me, I had resources. My father was able to go abroad and study. Even after 3 years, they're willing to were expecting me to spend 2 more years on my education. So if you think you have resources and you have time, I would not stop anybody to fail or try new opportunities, be successful or failure. It definitely gives a lot of experience and builds your confidence. Definitely makes you believe more that you can achieve a lot.
Yeah, all right. Thank you.
Thank you, Nandini. Seshas, I guess I had just an add-on question to that. When we're at this stage trying different opportunities, and when we have like 6 months to 1 month profiles in different places, how does it kind of look? When we want to stick to a long-term passage just by looking at your resume. Do like let's say companies or academia, do they think it as just fickle-minded or just someone with a lot of experience in different places?
I think it. I won't say there's a formula or an answer for those kind of questions. I know a lot of my colleagues or my classmates who have switched their careers in the last 3 4 years. I know people who are working for Futures First. They've 1 year they work, then they move to an IIMs for their MBAs, and they're preparing for civils. And then I have, like, you can see Sairam. He worked for 2 years. Then he from research he moved to consulting. From consulting he moved to an MBA. Now he's a strategy manager. And yeah, it's as long as you find that. I mean, there are various reasons why you want to switch. Maybe for money, maybe for your personal satisfaction, or maybe for your family. Any reason for that case. If you're honest with yourself, you would still gauge your opportunities which are in front of you. I mean, you would make a really good decision. I mean, always you need to get the right data by speaking to right people, what it is about. I was like, yeah, this was a really good opportunity for, you get the right data from people who have experienced it, right? So if you have such kind of forums where you could discuss, maybe it's mostly based on your personal situation for like wherever you're standing. That would make you choose your decision or path on what you want to do. Once you think like, okay, 6 months I worked 6 months here. Okay, do I go for my masters? Do you want to consider 6 months as an important, or do you consider your future long term of what you want to do? So it's up to your choice, and your bet on your career, on your future, like do you want to take that risk?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. We have another question from Ashwin. Ashwin, would you want me to ask, or do you want to just talk?
So I would, I think this question's similar question kind of was there tomorrow, yesterday also. So one thing which is maybe insightful from the people working in different fields would be that what should the current students, first of all, who are interested in research, do in case like COVID-19 right now? Should they get an internship in India? Would it be equivalent to, let's say, going abroad? Because I did an internship abroad, and Vatsal also did an internship abroad. Most of the people who I know are getting MS. Most of them had did it abroad, like my tracks or other things. Do you think that getting internship in India would be equivalent, or or do you have any other option, or what would you suggest for them to do?
Uh, okay, so I can start. Basically, internships are for there for to build your CV, right? So I mean, it doesn't matter where you do it, because if you want to if your aim is to basically apply for MS and PhD programs, and the only thing that should stand out in your CV is that you have the intent to do research, right? So it doesn't matter where you do the where you do the internship, because when a supervisor is looking at your CV, he's not looking at what you did and all of that, unless you somehow publish like 5 papers out of your summer internship, which is not possible. I mean, every internship is the same. As long as you know what you want to get out of it, and basically you learn something out of it. It doesn't matter. You can go to your local university in your hometown, if that helps, and everything counts.
Thanks a lot for that. And how about, let's say, the fields like if someone wants to get into coding? So, Seshasai, what would be your take on that? How could they invest their summers right now? Because probably it would be difficult to get internships, right?
That's a nice question. So, if you're asking about somebody who's actually doing their bachelor's right now and they are looking for a career switch to coding, I think they should, since they wouldn't have much experience on what's happening with coding. I know it's very common practice in colleges to just teach. We were taught C++, I believe, that too, not even any advanced level, very fundamental, very basic levels of probably hello world or for loops. That was the extent of what I learned. I remember. But once you go to the industry, they expect you to know more, understand the frameworks. If they have time in summers, probably they should join some coaching institute rather than wasting their time on online tutorials. I believe that you don't should not get anything for free. You won't appreciate whatever you get for free. You have to invest your time, your money. You understand the importance of it. That's what I believe in. So that's why I had to like did my master's just in CS. So go for that coaching. Understand you need to put a lot of effort, perseverance, if you want. So you learn some particular programming language, but then you want to deep dive onto what are the more fundamental things which would make you successful. So just learning a programming language, I'm pretty sure they would get a job in TCS, Wipro, Infosys. That's a basic switch. Anybody could get that. You don't have to work really hard for that. But if you want to go step up your level to a product and service based company, you want to understand fundamentals of what are data structures, what are algorithms. You want to scale up your step up your level to next level of going to a pure product based company, like they call a fan group in the US, like Facebook, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and all this stuff. If you want to go there, then probably you want to go about system design. How do you scale systems? So how do operating systems work? More fundamental problems. All these are available, but it's up to one's interest on how much you want to learn and how much you want to invest, how much you want to put aside your career or your biotech degree. You want to focus on these. It's going to be really hard. It's going to be hard. It's going to be really challenging on how you want to put it, but yeah, it's personal choice what you want to do.
Thanks. I hope that would be very helpful for the students.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess just I would like just like to add that I myself took a break kind of after my bachelor's, and I kind of spent time in trying to just improve my skills while I was trying to look for work. And I guess a lot of these online platforms also are helpful in doing so. And most of the times you can kind of apply for a fee waiver, and they give you a situation. And sometimes for students they do give a full refund, or they take out, you don't have to pay any fees and you can still get a certificate out of the program. So I guess, and so much of the coding helps. But yeah, I suppose, like Seshasai mentioned, an actual class where a coaching class would probably be more helpful for such situations. But we have another question from Shreya, so go ahead.
Yeah, so hello everyone once again. My question is in general open to anyone who's in research. I think a very basic stigma that Indian students have for research is that this career is, depressingly dull and repetitive, right? And that's one reason why I think before even starting, they just switch to something very easy, which is placements in their final year and coding in general. So, since all of you are here, what is your take on this?
Well, it's a good question. I mean, I can talk about this for like hours, but like, to give you the short answer, I mean, yes, it can be stressful. Yes, it takes a lot of patience, but a lot of jobs can be repetitive. I mean, there are not a lot of jobs where you will get to pick your own adventure, where you do in PhD basically, right? Or research. And let me tell you, like when you do research, what how I look at it is I'm doing something that nobody else is doing in the world, right? And every discovery is a new thing, and the thrill of that discovery is what keeps you going, and that really is something which can be a plus point from a lot of 9 to 5 jobs that are out there. But then there are pros and cons in everything, right? And uh, I mean, that's all from my side, I guess. I mean, I'm sure other people have a lot to add on that too.
Maybe I can add a sentence or two. So I don't think it's repetitive. So there are certain experiments that you have to do over and over again because it doesn't work the first time. But I see it as solving new problems every day. And you are always trying to learn new things. So you are following the research that's going on, like, and trying to keep up with that, and trying to see how, like, the knowledge that other people are generating, how it applies to your topics, and you're trying to build that in it to the next question that you will be answering. So it's definitely not repetitive. It's challenging, it's very demanding, but it's also very rewarding. So if you like solving problems, I think you will definitely enjoy it.
Yeah, I think Krishna said it really nicely. So my supervisor always says that research is art of answering a question. And for answering those questions, you do certain experiments. None of them are perfect. There are always caveats. But as long as you know the limitations, as long as you consider those caveats, then you know how to interpret it. And to make sure that those limitations are up to minimal, you have to repeat them at some point. And that's the process of optimization, and it's kind of fun of it, because then you get to see the journey, like this is where you started. I remember I'm recently doing this optimization for one of my sequencing experiments, and the first time I did it in Organize, no one has done it in Organize before, it didn't work, and then I had to optimize so many times, and now finally it works. And the moment I did that, I had like a really nice meal and treated myself. So I think that sense of achievement is what gets you going then.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's
if I could
definitely
just
true. Yeah. No, go ahead, Ashwin. Go ahead.
I mean, I just added actually on Vatsal's point itself. What he said that you get to work on something new, different, which no one is working on. Maybe there's one thing which I could add is that it's also a privilege, I feel, because there's always a time when you do research. There is a span when you have not published. You are technically the only person who knows that thing in the whole universe, I would say sometimes. Because actually no one knows that unless and until you publish. And there are actually these moments which maybe I could relate to, once in a month or something like that. And these things are really rewarding. So this is what keeps us going, I feel.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the high that you get when you prove your own hypothesis right, I think every PhD student can relate to that. That there is no better feeling than that, right? So yeah, I mean, there are pros and cons, like we discussed. I mean, in the whole 2 days of our, this conference for every job. But if you think that research is really dull and it is repetitive, that's I can tell you that it is not that. It can be stressful. I would agree to that, but not dull and repetitive.
Actually,
Yeah.
in the research lab, I think there are 100 times where I question myself, do I really want to do research? I might as well do 9 to 5 job because this experiment is not working. Even if I like sometimes an experiment does not work for months on end and it feels like there is no end to this. So those moments when I'm really frustrated, I call my mom and tell her that I am going to become a painter because it's the easiest job. I like painting and I think I can make money out of it. And then she says, which actually has a very strong point, that once you start painting, after a while you're gonna get so bored of because it's repetitive. So you can say every job that you do every in any field, it's gonna be repetitive. So my mom said, well, it's not like painting is easy because after a month you're gonna call me again and say this is the most frustrating job ever. So I guess you just need to be passionate about the work that you're doing and it will all work. It will all be good in the end.
Thank you all for your comments because it's all well put and really reflects on what a PhD student might go through. And yes, I don't think anything is repetitive, and we all go into the science in this field just for getting the high out of it or like proving something that you never know that it didn't exist, or even unproving something or disproving someone else's work is also one of the greatest at this happy moments of your life. But yes, but if we can move ahead, if anyone else has any other questions, and guess I can now open up this discussion to all the speakers of this particular session. So any general question would be great.
Actually, I'm wondering, does no one on the talk right now, is no one concerned about their GPA and how that might affect their masters or wherever they want to go?
I think during this session, nobody asked. The last time when we had a session with TAB, the Technical Association of Biotechnology, then some people had asked. But the stigma of, having high GPA is the only thing that gets you into masters is now, I think, getting lower. People are understanding that it's not just about the GPA, it's about the skills that you get, both technical and transferable. And I think it's a good thing that, and in a way, at least for me, it was only because my seniors told me that. Like initially, of course, like all of us, if we got into an IT Warangal, we must have done some good studying, so we want to get like good grades and good marks. But then at one point, it was like at least I understood that it's not just about that. It doesn't matter if I get all the amazing scores in theory if I can't put any of that in practice, or vice versa. So
Yeah.
I would take it as
I want to add on to what
When I was
Simran
in
has said, but I mean, me being the same batch as Simran and the many other people, like there were like I guess 7, 8 of us in our batch who were actually keen on going into the research side of biology, and for whom probably your grades in biotech mattered. But I guess I was the least graded person among all of them. I had the lowest GPA. So even if Simran understood that GPA doesn't matter, she still was a topper. But uh, I guess it really comes to when all these internships and experiences that much matter much more, and what you have collected with online courses or various other things matter much more than just your GPA is what I have understood, and I did get into a good program for my masters. And So there's always these other things that you can build on, even though you suck at getting good grade out of your exam. I think all these other skills are what really matters, when you come to your masters or a PhD or anything for that matter.
And I think I would like
And
to
I
maybe
wanted
point out
to
what.
add, uh,
Uh,
go
you can
ahead.
go ahead, Anika.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. I wanted to add that the your GPA at NIT Varangal is from 1 to 10, right? And when it translates for at least for North America, it was for, up till 4. So you usually get an advantage because like that has been my experience. Like so, my GPA translated to 4/4, so it was a perfect GPA for North American standards, right? So that's there too. And you might ask your the research, the graduate program managers what your GPA will translate to when you are thinking of applying to a university, and that can give you a boost that if you think that it's good for that program. And yeah, just wanted to reiterate Sairam's point about referral letters, because that was one thing that my PI pointed out. Why he picked me was because he found the referral letter by Omkar sir really good. And so that's what gave him the impression that, okay, the student is good and I want to recruit the student for my master's uh, to supervise the student.
Yeah, I just actually wanted to exactly say the same thing. There was a very nice comment from Sai Ganesh in the chat box that the letter of recommendation really makes the biggest difference, I feel. So my GPA was 7.8, and I was never really a very top student or something, but I still was able to get into a fast track master's program. I think one of the most important reasons was the LORs. And if the students could get a nice LOR, as he mentioned, from India, it really doesn't matter because the LOR should be comprehensive. They should know what the student is doing, and it should not be like a generic one. Oh, the student is good, bad, and stuff like that. That doesn't really add anything. Even if you get it from like HOD of Harvard or something, it would not really make much difference. That's what I have experienced.
Yeah, that's
Mm.
true.
I just wanted to add in. Sorry, Krishna, you wanted to say
No,
something.
no,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. Please go ahead.
So I just wanted to add in my 2 cents that grades are important for like on paper evaluation. I would say like before. So if you do not have a good grade, then at least like you want to complement it with other stuff like what people have just mentioned, letters of recommendation or other experiences. In my personal experience, I can tell you that getting a C grade in biochemistry in 2-1 during BTech at biotechnology didn't stop me from getting a PhD in biochemistry. So you can, I think, like even with a bad grade, you can, as long as you have complementing other stuff, you can get through.
And also
I
your interview with your supervisor when they're recruiting you, that also helps.
So I just wanted to add one thing. So when I was already in Germany doing my PhD, I found out a little bit more about the recruitment process for the master's program, because I was also in some students committee. So what they told me is that when they are reviewing applications from Indian students, because I mean a German professor cannot really judge how good the universities are, like from India, they don't know the names. So what I learned is that sometimes they forward these applications to people like professors or group leaders who are coming from India, so they all have a little bit better idea about the university. And I think there we are actually like we start way ahead from other applications, because I mean NIT Warangal is really one of the good universities and good institutes, and I think there we have an advantage. And I also don't think that GPAs matter a lot, because you are going to show that you are really interested with your internships. And in the end, they also have, most of the times, have a personal interview, and there you can really show how interested and dedicated you are.
I just wanted to add in one thing. So this is like something that I experienced while I was helping out our graduate and recruiting admission committee. Is that so? If you know that like someone else from the program might be applying for the same program that you are applying for, make sure like you actually communicate with yourself, and like make sure that your recommendation letters are a bit different. Like I had a situation where we pulled two applicants from the same school. Their letters of recommendation were exactly the same, apart from like just their names being cut and pasted wherever the name was. So avoid that kind of situation.
Are there any other questions? I guess now the floor is just open, so unmute yourself if you have any question that you would just want to throw out. Okay.
Hi everyone. This is Chanukya. I don't have any questions as such, but I would like to thank the organizers and everyone out there for making time, and I mean, like, just joining in and coming together to make this happen. I think it was brilliant, nice stuff from nice initiative from actually, like, Ashwin, Simran, and the entire core team and other folks who are doing it. I think, and also, yeah, it was amazing overall, interacting with seniors, juniors, and also the current students, I believe. Thanks everyone. Yeah.
I think Chanukya has given me an amazing introduction for my closing remarks. So thank you for that. So that brings me to our final part of this session. So first of all, I would like to thank all our speakers and moderators. I know all of you guys are doing full-time jobs, so it's really hard to make time, especially over the weekend when we all want to just rest. So thank you all. It really means a lot, and especially for making this discussion, this whole conference, so interactive and so candid. During the discussion, I saw everyone contributed in their own ways, in their own perspectives, and I think that's going to help not just the undergrads but all of us who are, in the at some stage of their career and are figuring out what they want to do. Next up, I would like to thank the core team and subcourse. I still remember how this all started. I was having a phone call with Ashwin and I was like, let's do this. I think the only good thing that happened in pandemic was that the world is able to function on a computer now. So maybe we can have such networking conference. Everyone can be at their places, but still we can have interaction. Also during my masters, the focus on networking was really huge, and I think that all makes sense. I still remember when I went to Germany, Ashwin Bhai was there to help me set everything up. When I was moving to New York, I messaged Rohit and I was like, I'm moving here. Can you connect me to some people? And that really helped. So that's what we plan to do even moving forward. To connect. To connect to each other, help each other out in professional, scientific, and personal aspects wherever we can. And that's what this team suggests. Basically, I think the entire team was just founded based on the interactions that we used to have in college and the interactions that we, I think, kept moving forward. And the most importantly, I would like to thank our AdComs and batch representatives, Rohit, Elika, Chanukya. You guys gave amazing suggestions, because of which this program was actually, nicely refined. And the batch representatives also made sure that, most of the batches were informed about it. We still have some gaps in different batches. So if anyone is interested, to spread about the community that we're trying to develop, and to just connect us all together, I think that would be great. And I would also like to share my screen and show you what we have done and what we plan to do next. So this is our BioNetwork website. This is who we are, a networking community. Our core team has Jalak, Tayabba, Daksh, Mohit, and Nandini. These are our founders, Ashwin and myself. And this website, this beautiful website, was done by this amazing team of web developers and content writers, all of whom, except Chandan, I guess, all of whom are current undergrads. So I think this was a brilliant job done by them. And when I saw it, I was just extremely super happy, and I'm still overwhelmed to see, all of this come in reality. We will also make a LinkedIn group where we will send you invites and all of
Okay.
us can be connected. Yeah, we have a LinkedIn group and we will send you
I mean,
invites.
if you
And
go to the bottom of the website, then you'll find the link to that. Just the
oh,
bottom of the website. So you
oh,
can see the IN, yeah, that's the LinkedIn group.
perfect. So we have the LinkedIn group already, and I'm going to request to join right now. So, and I hope you all join too. And I hope to stay connected with all of you. And we will probably we are still thinking of how we want to move forward. Like this was the event that we had in plan, and now we did it. We are welcome to all the suggestions to keep the community active and help each other out. We'll probably have such networking events every couple of months over the weekends just to interact and discuss and share, connect and grow. So yeah, that's mostly from. Oh, also I have to say one thing. Many of our professors reached out to us and appreciated us. So I would like to thank them, and some of them also joined the meeting in the middle. So just thank them for their presence and their encouraging words. It means a lot, and yeah. Thank you for making this discussion event, everything so happening and interactive and candid, and I look forward to being connected to you and just
Maybe
helping this
one last thing,
grow.
we should also add that so we've not really forgotten our roots. So I think most of us could relate to Tab, and Shreya right now she's the Gen Sec of the Tab this year. So with the Tab, we have also had a nice collaboration. And on the website also you will find a link to the YouTube channel on which we've gotten a sort of a talk series with such student with our students. It's something similar to what is done with this breakfast with champions, and Shreya has been managing it pretty well. And on this we are posting videos of discussion with the students. For example, how did they get the Khurana scholarship, or how did they manage to get good score in the GATE and or the IS scholarship and things like that. So this is also coming up hopefully in the episode 2, I mean sorry, season 2. We will maybe also get out of our social network, because right now me and Simran, we had our social small network. We tried to put all the students there and then get them done. Maybe in the next step we could also move on to other outside of us, and maybe outside the institute also. So that would be super cool. But yeah, we all need your support in that kind of yeah, exactly, Bachi, that's what it's called. Yeah, so that's, I guess it's from our side. Thanks again for joining.
Okay, guys, bye. Until next time.
Yeah, guys, also subscribe to the YouTube channel, please.
Yeah, like,
Yes,
share,
Yeah.
and
subscribe to the
subscribe.
YouTube channel. We want App to be the best association this year.
Yes.
That's gonna happen, Shreya. I promise you.
Hashtag take it home. Hashtag bring it home. Sorry.
Thanks a lot for the nice and motivating comments. Really, they are very helpful. They are very helpful. I hope we'll be able to get it done. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye
Bye,
bye.
everyone.
Bye everyone. Take care.